What's up, man? It's Hold the Truth Hostage, where if the truth was so important, you wouldn't negotiate with lies. This is another episode of Black Pill on the Road. Yeah, so to me, man, man, it's almost what is it now? It's May. It's almost the summer, man. It's almost the summer, you know. I gotta catch up on the XFL playoffs, XFL, and we all know the NBA. The NBA playoffs is happening, whatever. It's a good look for New York, man. The team that has to celebrate the fans is New York. I mean, the New York Knicks haven't been past, haven't been to the playoffs in over, in over like 11 years. 11 years the Knicks haven't been there. As for the Suns, man, if the Suns lose, man, it's like Kevin Durant. I keep telling people the hype on Kevin Durant ain't real, man. It's not real, man. Kevin Durant has proven he only works when he has overwhelming odds against the other team. When he's in a super team, or because I mean the loss with the Nets, that proved to you that, yeah, man, Kevin Durant got swept with the Nets, a great team, super team. Even though I believe that the coach sold out, I believe the Nets season, that season they got swept. I personally believe that Steve Nash got a call, and the gambling odds. No one would bet that the Nets got swept. You know what I'm saying? So whoever bet on them getting swept made a load of money. Load, lottery load of money. You know. But to me, other than that, man, I mean, not much has been happening. I mean, like I've been looking at the manosphere. I saw some guys in the manosphere are, now promoting that red pill stuff heavy, or I've seen it on TikTok. You know, to me, I stopped posting on TikTok. I just stopped making videos on there because, whether you like to believe it or not, TikTok is actually more has a more restrained level than YouTube. Like you can't even live stream until you get 1,000 subs. You know, which is very very limiting. But other than that, man, it's way I've been looking at it. Things are kind of what's the word, man? Things are actually. If you look at YouTube, if you look at what's going on in YouTube when it comes to this manosphere, things have actually, man, things have actually, as predicted with the black pill prophecy, man. The red pill just, it seems that content is very dire. You know what I'm saying? You look at YouTube, I don't really see it that much. You know what I'm saying? Not that I've been trying to watch it or anything, but I don't see that much red pill content. And I mean, think about it. Andrew Tate just got free. You know what I'm saying? Andrew Tate just got released. And, the content hasn't really picked up. Like, you don't see much interviews or much conversations because while Andrew Tate was in jail, what got revealed is that, man, yes, he was in jail, but it didn't do nothing. What got revealed is that, while he was in jail, nothing legally changed for the men in America. And while he was out of jail, nothing legally changed. So, I mean, a lot of him going to jail actually did the reverse, in my opinion. You know, it kind of proved that, yeah, you got a guy talking all this stuff, but at the end of the day, what is that talk worth? You know, where is the value and the worth of that talk? You know, it's not worth anything. You know what I'm saying? So I think jail might have hurt his brand. You know, might have hurt his brand because a lot of his brand was, from what I'm looking at and thinking, was just that talk. You know, a lot of that heavy talk and stirring up controversy from his words and conversation, even though everything he said isn't really new. I mean, it's been all over the red pill sphere anyway. You know what I mean? So one thing you got when he went to jail, I think it exposed that, okay, he's in jail. And I mean, I've seen people parody Andrew Tate. Like I saw this commercial for a coding boot camp where they parodied him. You know, uh, oh, what's good, man? Tomorrow, what's up, man? How you doing, brother? How are you doing, sir? Yeah, I'm on the road. Just on the road driving and doing this stuff. Just talking, man. I hope everything's all right with you, man. Summer's coming up. You know, good to see you, man. I'm on the road. It's got to give me a new phone, man. You know, it's like one thing I give technology, man. They really are trying to force you to upgrade these days. What is it? I'm riding with a OnePlus 7. You know, OnePlus 7. I mean, it's a 4G phone. You know what I'm saying? It's not a 5G. The plan is to upgrade. It's just figuring out which phone to upgrade to. But also, man, I want to say R.I.P. to Jerry Springer, man. Rest in peace to Jerry Springer, man. Grew up watching Jerry Springer, man. Jerry Springer was one of, in all honesty, Jerry Springer broke the mold, man. He broke the mold on what, you know, daytime television could be. Because I remember Jerry Springer had the movie, the TV show. And I remember when Jerry Springer did like a episode of Jerry Springer, where he made a movie where he decided, you know what, I'm gonna make it uncut. I'm gonna make it uncut, and it's gonna be on pay-per-view. While he still had the show on regular television, you know, Jerry Springer, man, Jerry Springer innovated television, man. He innovated the programming to let people speak on an adult level and to let people display an adult level without losing their basic cable access to their content. Because I mean, think about it. Jerry Springer literally made a TV show pay-per-view where there was nudity, sexuality going on. Like Jerry Springer was wild. And then you think about it. I mean, now it doesn't sound that insane. Anybody in the 2000s, it doesn't sound that insane. But dude, he literally had a TV show on public access. Like you could get Jerry Springer without cable. You could just get him on like WB. You get him on basic cable. You could get Jerry Springer on basic cable, man. Oh, OJ, what's good, man? You know what I'm saying? We need some people to type on the comments, man. Jerry. You know what I'm saying? Jerry Springer, man. He was ahead of his time, man. And what he did, and a lot of people will say, well, what about Howard Stern? Well, Howard Stern, he was on radio. Howard Stern was on radio, and then Howard Stern went on like I think more of a privatized radio station. Not public access. Jerry Springer was literally on public access, man, on public television. And then Jerry Springer did something that will get you kicked off. That'll get you taken out of public access television. You know, Jerry Springer made an uncut version of the Jerry Springer show where there was nudity, where there was sex. You know what I'm saying? He made an uncut pay-per-view of Jerry Springer. Then the next day he hosts the public television version. You know, Jerry Springer was an innovator, man. He was an innovator for adult content. You know what I'm saying? Mature content. You know what I'm saying? Jerry Springer proved that yes, I could. He proved that adults don't mind being served a more mature version of his content. You know, people that want it will pay for it. And then the regular people still watch it on basic television. You know what I'm saying? Jerry Springer was literally growing his brand on two ways. You know, one for uncut. You know, it's like he had Jerry Springer on basic television. Then he had the pay-per-views that were like Jerry Springer on HBO. You know, that's why you look at a show like Fresh and Fit. You know, Fresh and Fit. Copied some of Jerry Springer's format because Jerry Springer would bring a lot of these, ratchet, these, very untrained women, and also Jerry Springer would bring some more aware and disciplined women. And the other thing with Jerry Springer, you gotta understand is, he was a mayor. I think he was a mayor or a governor. And then he one day decided he's gonna make a talk show, and he did it. Jerry Springer, man, he's the definition of he did it the American way, man. You know, the American way of utilizing freedom of speech to its full. I mean, he utilized freedom of speech to a maximum level, man. You know, Jerry Springer. You know what I'm saying? For you to host a talk show where men and women come on about their relationships and sexual acts, you know what I'm saying? And then he still was on basic television. Jerry Springer was still on basic television, man. You got to think this was the 90s, man. You know, basic television. Today, like you look at today, you know what I'm saying? It's today you couldn't even get a modern Jerry Springer, you know? Because even today now, the basic television networks will not mess with or give a show to a more unrestricted, type of person. Like now, networks are so-called canceling people, not providing opportunity to people. Oh, he's on YouTube, he's cursing, he's talking about men and women's issues, you know what I'm saying? And he's cursing and he's talking like an adult. When dude, Jerry Springer was doing this back in the 90s. You know, Jerry wasn't cursing, but he'd bring on guests that were cursing and saying what they had to say. But today, you try to get a TV show or, you try to work with the regular networks and they'll limit you. They'll limit you and say you can't do something because all the way you speak, the way you're talking isn't a great representation of America and the American people. And the American people do not respect or want that profanity. When dude, we had Jerry Springer in the 90s. We had what is it, Girls Gone Wild in the 90s. Yo, the 90s, you had it all, man. The 90s was when everything was broken. You know what I'm saying? Every aspect of culture, limitations were broken. You know, of course it had its bad. Of course it had its bad. You know what I'm saying? What era doesn't have its bad? Give me a minute. And got the firefighters, the fire department, you know. Yeah, an official Springer YouTube channel would have been, yeah, dude, Ojit, man, you know what I'm saying? They would have banned a Jerry Springer YouTube account. You know what I'm saying? Jerry Springer would have been gone on YouTube. Jerry Springer was, man, the stuff he had covered. He covered DNA tests. He covered abuse. Dude, he covered everything. And the other thing is Jerry Springer had a Yoda like mode to him, where he would at the end of his show give you wise words and wisdom. And another thing with Jerry Springer is you gotta understand is that Jerry Springer was involved with a lot of pop culture, musicians, rappers, you name it, man. Jerry Springer was huge. I remember getting out of school to watch Jerry Springer, watching a marathon of Jerry Springer, man. 'Cause, the show was wild, you know, show was wild. And, I won't talk about whether it was staged or not. None of that matters. Jerry Springer broke the mold of television and what you would watch and what you would see. You know, man, that's one thing I hate, man. They'll call something the fucking the freeway. They call it the freeway, and the fucking traffic slows it down to a fucking halt, man. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, Jerry Springer, man. He was an innovator, man, an innovator. And I'd say one of the definitions of a true American entertainer, man. He was a true American entertainer and a true American. I mean, the fact that Jerry Springer utilized freedom of speech and freedom of expression to its max. And the thing is, he was a former politician, man, a former politician, and he still did a TV show as raunchy and as wild as Jerry Springer, man. Hey, look at this shit. God damn, man. Fuck with this traffic. But yeah, Jerry Springer to me, man, he did a lot. He broke the mold on television. He changed a lot, man, and Jerry Springer influenced a lot. Oh, Weebly, what's good, man? Jerry Springer influenced a lot of people, man. And R.I.P. to him, man. R.I.P. It's like we're losing all the legends, man. We're losing all the most innovative legends. And I think, and the other thing Jerry Springer did was that Jerry Springer was a boomer. Jerry Springer was a boomer to do something that innovative, man, that creative, what I'm saying, that will be replicated so much. That's one thing where a lot of people keep saying the whole okay boomer thing. It's like they're discounting some of the boomers, many of them that were very innovative. You got Jerry Springer. I think you got Howard Stern. You know what I'm saying? You got a lot of boomers that were ahead of their time, you know. And even that word ahead of your time, I think ahead of your time tends to be you're ahead of the perception of society and you're ahead of the limitations. Like, for example, if you were all about smoking weed and pro weed smoking before it was legal, you were basically ahead of the curve when it came to, being in an example of how it would be with the law being legal. So a lot of people when they say they're ahead of their time, it tends to be either they're ahead of the current state of the law or they're ahead of the current limitations of people's thinking. I like to think I myself am ahead of my time. You know what I'm saying? And I personally, that's what I try to be. You know, keep trying to be ahead of your time. A lot of people are just trying to be within their time period. A lot of men are focused on the issues of now. You know what I'm saying? They're focused on the issues of now and how to live now, how to think now. without understanding that if your whole thoughts are on now, then you basically will become obsolete when now is no longer a talking point and no longer a way of thinking. You know what I'm saying? That's why I personally look at it as, you got to be ahead of your time. You got to keep looking ahead, and you have to also reflect being ahead. Now there is a problem with being ahead of your time. The big problem with being ahead of your time is that though you'll mentally express something that, you know, the modern person can't keep up with, and being so driven by now, there is a price for it. You know what I mean? There's always a price for everything. But if you're always thinking about being ahead and always talking from a perspective of being ahead, when it comes to the present time or now, that's when you will suffer. You know what I'm saying? That's when you will suffer. That's when people will say, hey, man, something's wrong with you, man. You're weird. You know what I'm saying? Something's wrong with you. You're weird. Like, why are you thinking this way? Why are you thinking this way? You know, and then once the people have caught up with you and can validate what you were talking about, maybe five, because I mean, I'll tell you this, man. I'm one of the content creators. I've been ahead of my time, man. There's a lot of people catching up to old shit I've been talking about. There's a lot of people catching up on stuff I was talking about over 4 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Some stuff people are talking about, making content about, I was talking about it over 5, 6 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Over 6 years ago, I was talking about the side effects of you know, the side effects of men not dating. And I was talking about the side effects that men's greatest strength is their manhood. You know what I'm saying? Their manhood is their greatest. And tactics and all that stuff, you'll understand that the enemy usually wants you to abandon your strength. They want you to abandon your strength. And with men in westernized countries, they want you to abandon your true strength. And your true strength comes from it comes from what you can do as a man, what only you can do when it comes to the system. You know what I'm saying? That's providing children and so on. That's providing probably us millennials who will pick up on it, you know, because I think us millennials were literally in the middle. We're in the middle of Gen X and in the middle of the Zoomers. So I think the millennials have a more modern look. Like you would look back and see where Gen X was. So you're looking more at the 90s. Your comparison as a millennial, you're looking at things. I'm a late millennial. You know what I'm saying? I'm a late millennial. You know what I'm saying? I'm very close to the Zoomer generation, removed by probably a good 4 years or so, you know. But the thing is, when you look at it from that perspective as a millennial, even technology as a millennial, you were within the point where technology was just arriving. You know what I'm saying? So I think looking at things from a millennial perspective, you realize that, yeah, man, today's society, you know, is really heading towards a situation where there's going to be less births. There's a lot less births happening. And then you got to look at the push for technology. You see the push for all this automation and all this technology. You got to ask yourself, man, what is with all this technological push? And you might realize that, yeah, man, they're preparing for a country with far less births, far less of a population. I mean, think about it. Like you're on YouTube right now. If you're on YouTube right now, there are bots. There are bots that are designed to just watch channels and get views to them. Like, there are bots to follow people. There are bots. There's literally bots for streaming to make it seem like a lot of people are listening to a particular song. You know what I'm saying? And now with AI getting more advanced, there's going to be far more human like bots, you know, so they can project this illusion that there's a lot of people, man. There's a lot of people. A lot of people most people don't understand that the illusion now is to sell that the population is still growing and that the population is still stable. When you go outside, like if you want to really look at the population and how it's actually decreasing, is you got to think about it when you were in high school. Like when I was in high school, we'd leave. When we left high school, there was hundreds of us, man. Hundreds, damn near. It looked like thousands of us. Just leaving one school. Now, if you look outside of your neighborhood, you're like, man, I don't see what I went through. There ain't that many people coming out of school. You know what I mean? The population outside your window. And people will say, well, people are living at home more, they're online. Yeah, they're online, but I mean, you can't be telling me that every kid, every person in high school, leaving high school has an Uber. They take an Uber home. You know what I'm saying? They all take an Uber home. I don't believe that. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the that's the proof that the population is shrunk. You know, give me a minute. Yeah, I had a little issue, man. But yeah. So to me, man, there's a large movement to create an artificial population. An artificial population. Because if you look at it, I mean, if you look online, they've already trained people. People have been trained to think that, the view counts are real. Oh man, he's got 1 million views. That's real. You know what I'm saying? He's got 1 million comments. That's all real. You know, he's got 1 million streams, 1 billion streams. That's real. Even though even though the platforms have been proven to be biased and have an agenda. I mean, YouTube is biased and has an agenda, man. All of these platform sites. You know what I'm saying? This whole narrative on hate speech. You know what I'm saying? Oh, it's doing hate speech. You know what I'm saying? And like, dude, it's called freedom of speech. You know what I mean? They've even created a term. You know what I'm saying? Anything someone doesn't agree with and doesn't believe that you said, it's hate speech. You know what I'm saying? That's what they got going on YouTube, all these platforms. I mean, we all know that all these platforms are basically progressive leftist sites, you know. You know what I mean? Left questions. It will lean more left. Because you know the left invested far more in technology when it came to social technology than the right. You know, God damn this traffic, man. It's like, what the fuck's going on, man? Yeah, so the left invested in more in traffic, more into social platforms. So a lot of things are leaning left, and like I've been saying this for over 6 years, going on over 10 years now, is that, dude, there's a population shrinkage. A lot of people are creating content for ghost population. You know what I'm saying? Uh, well, I'll use another word since I use the word ghost for alternatives. But basically, a lot of these content creators, TV networks, film networks, whatever you want to call them, entertainment, are creating content for a population that no longer exists. You know what I'm saying? It's a void population, a population that's decreasing. You know what I'm saying? You got Disney networks who, in all honesty, charges should be filed on Disney. You know what I'm saying? Charges should be filed on Disney. In all honesty, when a network can openly come out and say, we're coming after your children, you know what I'm saying? They'd lock up or censor a man, you know what I'm saying, for saying that. A man with a mentally ill who would make an announcement that he's coming after children. Yet a TV network with billions of dollars, billions, says live on television, and they're talking and they've been exposed and they freely leaked it that they're coming after your children. You know what I'm saying? A network run by adults would openly say, we're coming after your children to manipulate your children. We're going to bring men in drag. We're bringing adult men that are strangers to your children. You know what I'm saying? This is this is how crazy it is, man. This is why I've been saying on the manosphere that, the closet has a large bank account and large influence. And the thing is, man, children aren't even safe. Children aren't safe. Minors aren't safe. I mean, look at, there was a saying years ago. Years ago there was a plan where it's been proven that Hollywood has been trying to normalize pedophilia. You know what I'm saying? Normalize it. You know what I'm saying? They've been trying to normalize pedophilia for a while, and they're succeeding, you know, because now acts of pedophilia are called inclusion. You know what I'm saying? They're calling it inclusivity. Inclusion, that we're bringing an adult man dressed in drag that might be, and we're exposing this adult male to children that are not even his. You know what I'm saying? Not even his, to influence those children to wear drag and so on. You know what I mean? It's crazy, man. You know, because what they've done is they're normalizing pedophilia through inclusivity. Oh, it's inclusive. It's inclusive that you bring a minor, a very young child to a parade, a pride parade where grown men are walking around, you know, exposing themselves. You know what I'm saying? That's inclusive. That's inclusivity. You know what I mean? To confuse the young boys and young children. That's inclusivity. Because what they've done, they've realized, you know what, man, we can't get pedophilia normalized as a sexuality. We have to normalize it as a gender, an identification, and we have to normalize it through society. You know, we have to normalize a lot of that behavior as something positive and promoting inclusivity. You know what I'm saying? Promoting inclusivity, promoting a unification of the public. You know what I'm saying? By promoting that adult men in drag dressed to expose themselves to children is okay. It's inclusive, it's positive, and it's helping the children and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? They have to dress it up that way because what they're doing is now you don't even have to speak of pedophilia. You don't got to speak about it because they've normalized it. They've normalized most aspects of it. You know what I'm saying? They've normalized most aspects of it. Bringing adult men in drag, expose them to children. You know what I'm saying? Expose these adult men in drag to children at schools. So if you have programs like that going on, and you got Pride Day and all that, where you're constantly trying to expose, you know, and alter the straight population, to feed more into the very limited pool. Because if you look at, because here's the thing, if you look at let's say you look at the trans community, and you look at it as a population of tigers, a small population. Look at it as a small population of tigers where there's less of a bloodline. You know what I mean? There's less genetic damn, what's that word? And yeah, there's less genetic diversity. There it is. There's less genetic diversity. You look at that community like that. So how do you increase that access to genetic diversity? You have to create something called inclusivity. You got to force it on. You got to force it so you can increase the access to a more diverse group of people for that very small population of people that are trans and so on. You know what I'm saying? That's how you do it. So you have to expose people to it. What is it, man? I was working at a bar, man. I was working at a bar, and it just shows you how insane this shit is. I was working at a bar, and they were celebrating Pride Day at that bar. It was a bar in New York. I forget the name of the bar. You know what I'm saying? I can't remember the name. But I was working at a bar in New York. They were celebrating Pride Day, and they had this dude in drag. They had this dude in drag in a bar where the goal of coming to a bar for a man is to get access to women. And for you to have drag at a bar, remember, a bar, people get intoxicated. Your vision gets blurry. You know what I'm saying? So the bar was literally promoting it's okay for men to be made fools of. It's okay to fool men into thinking you're a woman and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because this is the last place it should take place. That's why you see this whole thing going on with this Bud Light thing. You know what I'm saying? You're promoting an agenda that takes advantage of straight men when they're drunk. Because I've seen it where you'll see a guy in drag, you'll see a Decepticon come to the bar. They'll come to the bar and their goal, because this narrative they push that, well, all the people that are in the pride section, they have pride, they're honest, and they say who they are. No, they don't, man. No, they don't. Someone who went through a surgery to literally create an artificial representation of who they are. That's a person that'll be honest. That's a person that'll be honest. Come on, man. That's craziness. So what they have, and while I was doing security at that bar, what I'm saying, they had this dude in drag openly cursing out the straight men, saying, saying they worship, respect to all the women, and they hate men. You know what I'm saying? You have in a bar where, and bars live and die. They make their money based on how many women are at the bar. How many women the men can see at the bar. You know what I'm saying? And you openly have a man in drag openly talking about the men are worthless and that the men are garbage. You know what I'm saying? Cursing out the men, saying they're garbage when the majority of your customers are straight men and straight men and women who will women who are straight as well. You know what I'm saying? So you openly have in the bar, openly. You had a dude dressed in drag, playing games, dancing and shit. And you just see all the straight guys. I myself I'm blurring out my vision. Like I'm purposely blurring out my vision to not see what the fuck's going on. And you got this dude in drag openly cursing out the male customer. And this is how a bar makes its money. Like, you know what I'm saying? How is that even an option? They got their own bars, man. How is that even an option for you to host Pride Day at a bar when the majority of your money that's made is made from straight men interacting with women? You know what I'm saying? But it makes sense. It makes sense when you think about the agenda and the goal. The goal is, as they notice that the population is shrinking, and as they don't care. I mean, the government's not going to come out and admit that, it's the reason the population is shrinking. Laws will not change. Some minor laws will change, like you saw the Roe v. Wade, even though that law is very stupid, the changing of that, because if a woman has a stillbirth, she still can't get a deletion when it could literally decide whether she lives or dies. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of stupidity when it comes to government, man. I don't expect any sign of intelligence. Don't expect any sign of intelligent life. You know what I'm saying? Because most people working in the government are just acting on a religious level. Religious level that the government, as I stated, the government can never be wrong. You know what I'm saying? It can't be wrong. I mean, we even have something called, what is it, bureaucracy, where we will openly say, well, it's gonna take its time. It won't happen quickly because of a bureaucracy. So, you're purposely saying it's okay for the government to do things in a slow pattern because it's a bureaucracy. While that's your job, it's different. You got to get things done. You know what I'm saying? Go to the DMV. It might take you hours. I remember I was at the DMV for like 5 to 8 hours. 8 hours to be told, yeah, go back home. You don't have enough information. And I'm like, what the fuck, man? I have my ID. I have my ID. I got all this stuff. What do you mean I don't have enough information? But hey, man, this is the government. The government isn't about efficiency. It isn't about efficiency. It isn't about decency. It isn't about honesty. Look at that. I'm rhyming it. The government is not about efficiency. The government is not about honesty. When I say, yeah, I'm trying to think, corruptive, corruptive, easy as no honesty. 1, 2, 3, be corrupt with me. I know about the government with no honesty. There's no efficiency, nor there is any decency. I'm talking about corruptive man. Easy as 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, be corrupt with your government in me. You know what I'm saying? It's a funny thing, man. It's a funny thing that happens. And the way things are run, that's the plan. That's the plan. Fucking traffic, man. 20 minutes in traffic, man. God damn. Yeah, so that's what's happening. Oh shit. Oh, Medican, what's good, man? What's good, Medican? Yeah. So when you look at the government, man, the government is not about efficiency. It's not about decency. It's not about honesty. It's not about simplicity. It's all about the government's corruption, man, and maintaining that. Because to me, a lot of people don't get it. A lot of people think, all this technology and automation is to help the population. No, man. A lot of this technology that's being pushed is to create an artificial scale of the population. You know what I'm saying? Think about YouTube. Like, YouTube views will not go down, even though less people are watching YouTube than ever before. YouTube can always cook up the numbers. And if there are bots, I would not doubt if YouTube had bots. YouTube itself had some bots that will watch YouTube channels and artificially simulate high views, high comment sections, and so on. Or YouTube just has AI programmed into it anyway to create artificial comments and artificial reactions. You know what I'm saying? Because as the population shrinks, Gen Xers are in their 50s now. The boomers are in their 70s, 80s. You know what I'm saying? And then us millennials are heading towards our 40s and are having far less, not that we have far less time, but we're having far less patience to tolerate anything that's BS. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of stuff I don't even watch. I don't even watch a lot of things like I used to because I just can't tolerate the BS, man. And it could be a micro amount of BS, and I just won't watch it. So a lot of people, and then you add in the fact that we have the means to watch whatever we want. I could literally, if I wanted to, I could watch, let's say, the Wayne brothers. I could literally watch the Wayne brothers every day. You know what I'm saying? Every day I could watch that show. Every day. You know what I'm saying? I have the means to do that. So that means I don't gotta watch nothing new. Because a lot of what's happening with the agenda and so on, is a lot of people don't get it. I watch a lot of channels where they're like, man, why would Disney openly do something where it would limit the amount of money they make? Why would Disney openly do this? You know what I'm saying? Why would Disney openly do something where they will lose money? You know, why would they do this? You know what I'm saying? Because they already made their money, man. A lot of people just don't get it that a lot of these bigger networks, they already made their money. A lot of the a lot of the people in charge already made their money, man. You know, so they can literally, if they choose to, they don't lose nothing. Like, I mean, what happens when you fire someone that is already worth $250 million? Like, what are you doing? How much are you affecting this person's life? You know what I'm saying? Oh, look at that. There was an accident from a truck driver. Damn, a truck crashed into another truck. Dear God. God damn. Yeah. So the thing you gotta understand is that with all the money that's being made, oh JP was good, dog. You know, you gotta understand with all the money that's being made, that these people don't lose nothing. You know, how much are you losing? How much are these TV networks losing when, yo, the CEO is making $20 million a year or more, 20, 100 million, like that. They're making damn near billions of dollars, man. So they're making their money. They don't care about the the next people, man. We gotta understand the way corruption works, man. Corruption works where the foundation the foundation has no meaning. Like companies, look at what happened with this Budweiser thing. What happened with this Budweiser thing, the CEO or the main person in charge for running that ad, promoting that it's okay. It's promoting that a tranny's on a drink towards straight men. They're promoting that it's perfectly fine and it's okay that men are fooled into sleeping with with trannies. You know what I'm saying? That's what that is promoting. You know what I mean? That's what that's really promoting, man. But they won't point it out. They won't point that out. They won't talk about it that way. I've watched a lot of YouTubers covering the Bud Light thing. They just say, well, you have a man who's cutting his balls and all that. No, man, it's more than that. It's advertising that, yeah, it's perfectly fine and it should be promoted when it comes to fooling straight men into sleeping with men pretending to be women. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's perfectly fine. That's what they're promoting. You know what I'm saying? That's the promotion. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what happens, man. You know what I'm saying? To these straight men. Because at the end of the day, the CEOs, they already made their money. Even if they didn't make that much money. You know, let's give, for an example, someone is a manager for Disney. They just made $100,000. $100,000. They're working for Disney that one year, and they help promote the agenda, man, because they've made their money. They've we're not. They've made their money on the agenda. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people talk about, yo, man, you know, there aren't that many jobs, man. You know, it's the recession that affects jobs. No, man, it wasn't a recession. A lot of times now you can't even get a job because you don't fit the agenda. You don't fit the mold. You know what I'm saying? You don't fit the mold of what they want. So they're not gonna hire you. A lot of people think, well, that quota system was created to hire people. No, the quota system was created to not hire people. You know what I'm saying? If you're qualified for a job, you won't get it because, well, there's not enough non-straight men working here, so we can't give you this job. There's not enough. There's not enough non-straight men. Oh, there's not enough. Now let's reverse it a little. Oh, there's not enough non-straight minority men. We know you're a gay man, whatever, but you're a white gay man. We want to hire more non non Caucasian gay men. You know what I'm saying? The way they basically discriminate is through these so-called quotas and progressive programs. When in truth, they're discrimination. And not only are they discrimination, it's an artificial way to control the population, man. To control the population, control the jobs, control the culture. Because I mean, if you can decide who gets a job, who gets an education based on their sex, based on their sexual identity, based on the gender identification they claim, you can basically dictate the culture of that country. A lot of people, man, when you don't have this black pill awareness of absolute logic and analyze shit, man, analyzing things for what they are, you're gonna get caught up in the surface level BS, man. Surface level. You know what I'm saying? The truth is, man, it's about controlling the very culture, the very fabric of how people behave. You know what I'm saying? The quotas, the race quotas, the sexual identity quotas, the 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 female quotas, all that is used as a way to control and dictate the culture. That's what it is, man. Dictate the culture and dictate how the people behave. Because I mean, think about it. If you got a let's say you got a young boy, you know what I'm saying? Young boy growing up in the highest levels of power, the highest level of power in his neighborhood, the highest jobs he sees, the people that are making money. And remember that's the influence. He sees the highest level of influence in his neighborhood is a drag queen. You know what I'm saying? A drag queen. A drag queen walks out, has most money, making the most money. You know what I'm saying? Because they do this. They do this a lot when they talk about drugs. When they talk about people in neighborhoods that are selling drugs. Yeah. So, like I was saying, man, you gotta understand that it's about controlling the culture. You know what I'm saying? So think about it. Now they do this when they're doing when they're doing documentaries on poor people and they're doing documentaries on gang violence. They always say in these gang violence series that, oh man, the only idols they had, the only men they had to idolize were gang members, drug dealers. Well, man, what you think they're doing in your current culture? They're propping up a lot of A lot of drag queens. They're propping up a lot of damn, I always forget this word. It's that D word. Yeah, dysfunction. They're propping up dysfunction as cultural leaders. They're propping up the major influence. Like right now, Jake Paul, man. You look up Jake Paul. Jake Paul, to me, I would not watch his channel or anything. That guy is in the closet for real, man. He literally had a video where he was boxing a dildo. You know what I'm saying? One of my boys, I was scrolling through Instagram, and there's no filter, man. They didn't filter this, man. They didn't filter out Jake Paul. You know what I'm saying? Jake Paul was basically attacking KSI, saying KSI, and this is how big his thing is, and he was boxing a dildo, man. They didn't block this. They didn't block that. They didn't block it or say this is wrong. This is not right. You know what I'm saying? They didn't do that. You know what I mean? They let that promote, man, because this is how it works, man. They're promoting the culture. You know, the culture, they're dictating it through the influence. You know what I'm saying? Just as the main influencers in my life were drug dealers. Mr. Beast, his co-host had freaking what is his co-host had the transition. Mr. Beast co-host had the transition, and then this weirdo, this weirdo and mentally ill guy said, "Well, it was life-saving surgery for me to transition." And then then this guy who is literally what's the word? Who's also adopted a child said, "Well, I support trans children." You know what I'm saying? This is the level of insanity you have, man, in the culture. And this is the same guy on Mr. Beast that'll say, "Love yourself." To me, it always makes me laugh, when you hear someone going through a transition, doing all this surgery, gonna tell you love yourself and be true to yourself. You know what I'm saying? What the fuck do you know about being true to yourself and loving yourself when you had to go under a knife because you hated yourself so much? So, like, what the hell can you tell me about loving myself, appreciating myself, being honest with myself when you hated yourself so much you went under the fucking knife? And you got Mr. Beast co-host, and Mr. Beast is what? I think he's the #1 YouTuber. So over 100, I think he has over 150 million subs or something. So you got Mr. Beast co-host going through a transition. And instead of saying, I did it, I wanted to do it, he said, "Well, it's life. It's saved my life. It's life-saving surgery." So you're telling me someone who's normal, who exists as just a normal straight man, they're existing in a state of potential fatality. Is that what you're saying? They're existing in a state of a potential fatality. Come on, man. And you got Mr. Beast, you got Jake Paul, you got all the Pauls, man. Like, you can't watch any straight male channel on YouTube without them doing something in the closet, man. You can't. Like, it's to be expected. Like, you watching a so-called straight guy's YouTube channel, they're like, "All right, word, man. He talking about women, man. He talking about women. What's good? Word." And then out of nowhere, they're gonna pop up something that goes completely against that, man. You know what I mean? Because the agenda now is to have the influencers. Every influencer has to have some loyalty to the closet. You know what I'm saying? Some loyalty to the closet, man. some aspect of it has to be closeted. You know, Jake Paul, Mr. Beast. You watch any channel, they have to. Like it's become some sign of loyalty that they have to enact some aspect of the closet. You know what I'm saying? They have to promote it. You know what I'm saying? Because the goal is to redefine what it means to be a straight man. You know, I mean, look at that narrative where, well, you're comfortable in your sexuality as a straight man if you're going to compliment another straight guy for looking a certain way and saying that man is attractive and all that crap. Yeah, man, that's what they're doing. That's the goal. Because a lot of people think, yo, money. A lot of people, a lot of people fall for that trick that, yo, man, money is the most important thing. No, dude, the most important thing is influence. Influence is the most important thing. You know what I'm saying? If you have a way to control the influence of people, then you're gonna keep making money. Like, how hard is it to make money when you influence the majority of the population? When you're trying to influence the population, you know what I'm saying? How hard is it to make money? You know what I'm saying? Influence is a big goal, man. And a lot of people aren't looking at it. Like you can't watch anybody without expecting some closeted activity. Like it's inevitable. The biggest YouTubers, biggest influencers you watch, you know what I'm saying? I remember the early 2000s. You know what I'm saying? The early 2000s, you had a Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. Then I think the early 2000s, they started pushing this bromance narrative. You know what I'm saying? They're in a bromance. You know what I'm saying? It's a bromance. It's a bromance movie. Why the fuck? What happened to it's a buddy cop movie or a buddy movie? Nope, they had to put romance into it. You know what I'm saying? They had to. So everything you watch, everyone you watch, has to show a sign of loyalty to the closeted agenda. You know what I'm saying? A lot of guys are talking about all the Illuminati and all that old outdated bullshit, man. The Illuminati, Tupac died for our sins. You know, Tupac was Jesus. You know what I'm saying? All this bullshit, man, that ignores what's truly happening, man. What's truly happening is we're having a population decline. The population's decline due to the laws, due to the legal ramifications. Men are openly not having children. Then you have an agenda to basically diversify the the gay population, especially the trans population. You know what I'm saying? To diversify it, so they have to have forced inclusion and tell you that you're a bigot, you're a bigot, you're ignorant if you do not include. You know what I'm saying? If you do not include a certain sexual aspect of the population in your content, you know what I'm saying? You're a bigot, you're a sexist. You know what I mean? You're everything that's problematic. If you do not go with the agenda, you know what I'm saying? If you don't go with the agenda to influence the straight population, you don't include the closet in your content. Well, you do not have enough closet in your programming for us to justify your words and what you're saying. You know, the closet is the truth. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, your kids are watching Jake Paul. You know what I'm saying? The same Jake Paul who boxed a fucking dildo, man. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't block that. They didn't block that at all on Instagram. They didn't block it at all, man. They let it be shown. You know what I'm saying? It was good, man. It was good parts. They let it be shown. Well, man, this has been you know what I'm saying, another episode of Black Pill on the Road. You know what I'm saying? I'll have to hit y'all up later, man. You know what I'm saying? Respect and peace. You know, we'll continue this conversation later. Have a good morning. You know what I'm saying? All right, peace.
They said the truth won't survive beside the lies that maintain the decaying